Alrighty, this is the video titled Hating on Hoyoverse equals free views. Now, even before I begin to watch this, let me tell you, me as a relatively new streamer and content creator, I have been posting just a few videos as of the past couple of months, including that one where I kind of quote unquote hated on Honkai Star Rail, which is a Hoyoverse game. Let me tell you, it got almost 0 views. So that's that.
I was not going to talk about this because I got sent it by one person, and well, after that, I was linked it by 3 more people, and then I saw it was posted in my daily scramble. This is what's going on. Mr. Pokey made a take. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to explain everything because this is something of an example that I feel isn't healthy to say. If Mr. Pokey ever watches this, I encourage him to point out any flaws in my argument, any flaws.
Sounds serious because I know Mr. Pokey and I know this Tectone guy. I've been watching both of them, quite a few videos actually. This is Asmongold, and I don't know about the rest. This is Mr. Pokey. Now, they are all big content creators, also in the gacha space, but I think Asmongold and Tectone are bigger than Mr. Pokey, because Mr. Pokey is mostly in the gacha space, while Tectone and Asmongold are in more a variety of spaces. So I don't know if this is going to be drama between big streamers or big content creators or not.
Flaws in my logic whatsoever, and to hopefully kind of get him to understand why this is one of the most damaging things that you can say, not only for the health of a game, but also for the health of your fellow content creators. And I know that I've been someone who I've been very critical of my colleagues.
Oh, I see. So Mr. Pokey said hating on Hoyoverse equals free views, and now Tectone is gonna debate, debunk, or whatever, react to it. Well, okay, let's hear it first. What he has to say before I say anything.
In this space right now, and I'm saying a lot of things that, I got a message from Ethan last night, I got a message from Kate last night,
The high
because I was
YouTubes.
fairly critical of their content. But the only reason why I'm being critical of these people's content is hopefully to make them grow. And I'll be real, both of them took it pretty well, and I was very happy about that. And I do think there is a lot of issues in the space. However, I think this is something
There are.
that will cause a lot more issues in the space, and we'll talk all about that in probably.
There are many issues in the space, in my opinion, as well. I don't see why this would cause more issues. Like, if anything, I think the opposite. Like, this is just a drop in the ocean. But let's hear what he has to say. Why is this a huge issue, in his opinion?
Later YouTube video about, is there too many reaction channels in the gacha creation space? Is there a problem in the gacha creation space? And I'll tackle that later. But first, I want to address Mr. Pokey's clip in full.
Okay, before that, so him saying that this is an issue is not because what Mr. Pokey actually said, that hating Hoyoverse equals free use, but because, as from his words, I assume that because more like how many content creators react to those said criticisms or hates.
I'm going to let this play out, and then we're going to break it down. So let's just see what was said.
I don't think this is me trying to instigate, but it is pretty meta, especially on YouTube now, to just farm hate for Hoyoverse. Right? It doesn't really matter if you upload content that is related to the game, but it is meta itself to just say Hoyo equals bad, and then you get like a shit ton of views.
I don't think that's true. However, I see his point, because let's assume that whatever happens in the world, like war breaks out, 9/11, the COVID virus, like everything that has a big impact, that's big news, and it's quote unquote sensational, and news outlets try to capitalize on that, then in a sense, now that the Hoyoverse games are kind of in a bad state, in my opinion, especially Star Rail. I don't know much about Genshin. I only heard that Genshin is in a bad spot as well. I don't know much about ZZZ because I don't play Genshin nor ZZZ, but I heard that ZZZ is kind of in a good position right now, while Genshin is also in the gutters, just like Star Rail. Maybe worse, maybe not that worse. To me, Star Rail is in a dire situation, in my opinion. And because of that, it's kind of a sensation because I do believe, like I said before, that until version 2.6, near the end of Penacony, until with Sunday coming out, I think everything was kind of okay. Like the 2.6 was the patch and was the version where all of the red flags came up to my mind, and I kind of predicted everything back there, and 90+% of them came true, not came true so far. And content creators like even Tectone and most of the other bigger content creators are just now starting to realize and react what I said back in 2.6, that everything is gonna happen. And so far everything did happen, including the already we know the leaking characters about DOTs, etc., and Fate collab, etc. But you can watch my whole VOD that is uploaded. I've yapped over two hours about that, including how I started as a day one player and why I picked the characters that I did, what was my logic, what was my state, etc.
It is simply the meta. So yeah,
Also, calling it the meta, I think it's fair because every time a sensation happens, like people are, I came to realize people don't really care about the truth. Some people don't really care about the truth. Some people are just, especially in the Western hemisphere, some people are just mostly about sensation and what happened. Like, the perfect example is when a comedian called Gabriel Iglesias gave the example, which was based on true facts in his experience. When something happens in America, like a traffic accident, every car stops and like, what happened? What happened? What happened? Even in the opposite 5, 6, 7, 8 lanes where nothing is happening, they are stopping. They're just, what happened on the other side? Where? Whoa. And the other example in India, if something happens, nothing stops the traffic and the traffic flow in India. They just go around and traffic keeps flowing. So that's the example I can give here. If something happens, something impactful, and there's a sensation, and the news outlets are on it all over the place, like people don't really care about how much truth there is behind that. They just care. Oh my god, something happened. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Similarly, I think this is the same thing where, now that okay, it's true, of course, because Hoyoverse isn't doing so well, but now this is something quote unquote sensational, and that's why it could be considered meta. But I think it would be more appropriate to say not hating on Hoyoverse is the meta, like doing like posting sensational things is the meta, in my opinion. It just so happens that now, I wouldn't say hating on Hoyoverse, but stating the facts that Hoyoverse and its games are in a bad spot is now meta. I think that would be more accurate and correct.
it is what it is. Like this game, for example, HSR, it could be made by Capcom, it could be made by Nintendo, it could be made by
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who makes it. He's correct on that. It doesn't matter who makes who would make the game. It would be the same.
Cool games. Doesn't really matter. But because this game has Hoyo on it, it is meta AF to hate it.
Okay, he's saying the opposite. I don't agree with that. I think it's the opposite. It doesn't matter who would have made this game, Hoyoverse, Nintendo, Capcom, or I don't know who, whatever examples he mentioned. I don't think it matters who would have made this game. If the game was, I think it would be the same.
Right, the whole power creep and all that kind of stuff. It is just because it is the name is slapped on, you get like the hate plus 20. It's like the frenzy virus. You get the additional frenzy virus.
This makes zero sense. Like logically, like this makes no sense to me.
Top of it, right? Maybe it could have still been under some scrutiny because of the FOMO and everything, but it probably won't be as bad. It probably won't be as bad. Yeah.
Okay, I already double checked. This is the full context. There's a very clear lead in into this clip where this is a standalone clip, and I wanted to give this the full context before I tackled everything that was said in the way it was said and try to hopefully make Mr. Pokey understand why this is a very bad thing to say, and also to let Bran Online, Doro44, Ziox, and Zajeff to all know why saying this is a bad thing.
Okay,
And the
content
reason why I'm
creators, I
bringing up their
assume.
name is because this is something that those creators have also said for years. That's why I was very disheartened to
Okay.
hear that Mr. Pokey was saying this, because I thought he was making some progress, but this was definitely one step forward, 18 steps back.
Wow.
So this is everything that he said. If anybody thinks I'm misconstruing anything, feel free to challenge me on this. I'm being very fair. These are near direct quotes, but summaries of what was said, which is, to start off, this isn't me trying to instigate. Meta on YouTube to farm Hoyoverse.
Okay, this isn't me trying to instigate might not be true because, to be fair, I used to say sometimes the same, like, this isn't me want to do XYZ, but then I say something that quite literally does XYZ that I just said. This is more of a thing nowadays where people, especially again at the best, more likely in the Western Hemisphere, are so fucked up that even when you try to just criticize, give a constructive criticism on something, in this case like Hoyoverse game, Honkai Star Rail, or whatever, you have to say bullshit like this isn't me trying to be negative, this isn't me trying to hate the game, but let me try to give, because nowadays you cannot just give your constructive criticism or anything without some people being utterly offended, without thinking through why are we saying this and what really is happening. That is probably the main reason why bullshit like this isn't me trying to instigate, or this isn't to XYZ, but we have to say it. Because otherwise, people that get offended are immediately offended. With this, it might offend only 70% of those people. But you know, this is more like a damage mitigation sentence, in my opinion. And believe me, I hate to do the same thing that this isn't me XYZ, but you know, I have to say it because this is the fucked up reality we are in. Okay. Meta on YouTube to farm hate on Hoyoverse. Yeah, that's a strong one. Let's come back to this later.
It is meta to say Hoyo bad, you get a shit ton of views. If this game was made by anyone else, it'd be fine.
I don't agree with that. I think I completely think of the opposite. If this game was made by anyone else, it would be still the same. Hopefully. And what I mean by that is, let's see the opposite case. If this weren't the case and this was a true sentence, then that would just mean that people aren't really critically thinking and being open-minded of the actual state of the game. They are being blinded by a brand name, in this case like a company name, and that would be sad. So that's why I think this is not true, and I think the opposite is true. If this game was made by anyone else, it would make no difference. Again, hopefully. And again, what I mean by that is I hope that people have the critical thinking skills to distinguish that.
Okay. So let's break down. And by the way, chat, are we all thinking that I'm being fair here? Do we think that I'm accurately representing the points that were made? Yes, so far, yes.
I can't wait to hear his opinion about the second and third one.
You're being too fucking nice. I always hear that whenever I talk about Mr. Pokey, that I'm being too fucking nice, but I'll be real.
Because as far as I've seen his videos and reactions, he is kind of legit and he's kind of keeping it 1,000 most of the time.
That's a take from maybe 2024. In 2025, I've been going on him.
I don't agree with everything about what he says, but
address all this here.
I can see his view.
Trying to instigate. So this is something that a lot of creators are doing, which is putting up a lead-in before they're about to say something horrific and say, but this isn't me trying to do that thing that I'm clearly doing. I think it's important that we take accountability and just own what it is that you're doing. Too many.
I can see his take on it, and I can see creators actually do it like that. For me personally, like I said before, it's mostly just because of some of the audience, especially in the Western Hemisphere, who get really offended no matter what you say, no matter how you say it. It's just damage mitigation. It's just a damage mitigation sentence, in my point of view. Most of the time, if I say sentences like that, and more often than not, I have to say those sentences even though I don't want to.
Creators saying, you know, I don't want to piss anybody off, but I think you're all gay retards. Let's just take some accountability.
No, like, well, yes, actually, yes, because if you were to say just bluntly, even though it might be true that you're quote unquote gay retards, people will get more offended than if you say that one line. You don't want to sound like an asshole or something like that, but you are gay retards. To be fair, when it's that blunt, I wouldn't consider saying that magical sentence. I usually say that magical sentence when it's not 100% factual and it's kind of an opinion on my point.
And I think anybody with above room temperature IQ would have understood, yes, if I go and say that every single person who's talking negatively about Hoyoverse is only doing it because it's meta and it gets you views.
Nah.
What do you think is going to happen? There's one of two options. One, you are just so beyond delusional. You're so beyond delusional that you don't get the consequences of your own actions.
Yeah.
Or two, you're doing this intentionally, but you want it out. You want to be able to say all this shit, farm these Giga Chads, farm this alpha energy, and then say, whoa, guys, no war, just love, peace, and happiness. Let's just take some accountability. I totally understand that when I...
Yeah, I can see both of his perspectives, or both of his stance. To be fair, yeah, if I wanted to be out, then yeah, zero restraints, zero censorship, just let it all flood out of the gate. And the other one, well, I don't know a good example for that, but I can see his view.
go in on people, I'm going to get shit, and I accept.
For me, like I said before, and I'll say it again, it's more like just a damage mitigation sentence policy, you could say. It's just there when, for example, when Hoyoverse supports give you an answer or give you a feedback. It sounds all nice, it sounds all sweet, it's copy pasted, but it's, it gives a certain reaction or a certain feeling for the people that receive the news, the answer, to try to make them stay calm, etc. This is the same thing in my opinion. This is just there so that angry people who immediately comment, immediately react without thinking, just stay a few more seconds calm than they would otherwise be, and just maybe give them a chance to think about it. That's the way how I see it.
Accept those consequences. So let's stop giving ourselves outs and let's just own up to what it is that we're doing. Now let's talk about meta.
To be fair, owning up what you're doing is something I 100% agree with him.
On YouTube to farm hate on Hoyoverse, it is meta to say Hoyo equals bad. You get a shit ton of views. Okay.
And my take, when it's currently appropriate, when that is the most sensational thing, I think that is true. For example, if this was, let's say, 9/11, and I would say it is meta to post everything related about 9/11, be it airplanes, be it terrorism, be it New York, be it whatever the fuck there is, then yeah, I would say that is meta. Meta is a thing that always changes. There's always new meta. And if the meta just so happens to be Hoyo bad this time around, and who knows how long it will take or how long it will be, maybe it's just a couple of days, maybe a week, maybe a month, but I can see that.
So this means that the meta for Hoyoverse content is to just shit on it. Now, let's talk about what meta is. Let's talk about what meta is. Meta
is the most efficient tactics available.
Means that it is the top performing, most succeeding builds in every game. we would all agree that if you are playing meta, that means that you are using the best teams, the best units, and you are playing at top 1%. So
That's one way to look at it, sure.
I want to challenge anybody to prove me wrong here.
My view on the meta can also be in my view, as like I said, the most efficient tactics available is not be in the top 1% of performers, but being the one with putting in the least effort and getting out the most effects or results out of it. Like lifting your pinky and getting results the same like someone in the top 5%. I could see that as meta as well. And I would prefer that kind of meta personally than the one he is speaking of, being in the top 1%, putting in a fuck ton of effort, a fuck ton of money, a fuck ton of time. I would just be putting very minimal time, very minimal effort, but getting the most results out of it. AKA free to play. AKA what we need to do as a free to play player.
Tell me a single, and by the way, he said, and I quote, on YouTube. He said on YouTube.
Yeah, that's probably important.
On YouTube, it is meta to hate on Hoyoverse. And I'm going to replay the clip just so you all can hear that.
I don't think this is me trying to instigate, especially on YouTube now. Meta. Especially on YouTube now. Meta.
Also, with this being said, like I cannot emphasize enough that how very important I think it is for me and other content creators as well as to kind of reflect what the hell are we are saying, because especially bigger content creators, because they at this point are influencers, and based on what they are saying, they have an influence, believe it or not, to influence other people. That's hence they are influencers. And yeah, I think there is a responsibility for every content creator to, take care of what they are saying. Even if they like I benefit of the doubt. Sometimes they don't mean what they are saying, or that's not the right way they are saying it, or it's being misinterpreted, be it intentionally or not intentionally. There's all kinds of shit and drama happening in those big spheres. I can understand that. And, we are all human. We all make mistakes. But, yeah, it's hard to distinguish what is what.
Especially on YouTube now.
Great. So now that we know that that is a direct quote, I want to challenge anyone. Tell me a single one. Name me one negative, or a constructively criticized forward content creator in the top 5 Hoyo creators.
To be honest, I don't even know who are the top 5 Hoyo creators. I could mention a lot of negative things. Probably nobody would give a shit about, because I'm not one of those top 5, top 10, or top 100 Hoyo creators. I'm just a little new nobody. Let's be real.
Tell me one. Tell me one of them. If they are Brant, tell me one of them.
Compared to them,
Okay,
that is.
So chat is saying you. So you're saying me. All right. So I'm in the top 5 Hoyo creators. So first of all, let me make one thing perfectly clear. I barely play Hoyo games.
Wow.
Barely. Here's my view so far.
Okay.
We have a podcast between me and Dantes. We have an anime react stream. We have me talking about Asmongold and Hassan, why the gacha industry is failing.
Wow,
going
so
over
much
a
drama.
Universal Rev report. You have to understand, I am not a Hoyo creator anymore. And that's what's important. Now, I do cover Hoyo games, but my content in majority is variety amongst all gacha games, as well as other topics that pique my interest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even with that in mind, my average viewership is around 60 to 70,000 on any
Holy, 60 to 70,000, and that's the average. It must be nice. Hashtag envy.
given video that I upload. We're gonna pull up Ziox. This guy's videos on a bad day get 200,000 views.
Okay.
On a bad day.
On a bad day.
On a bad day. Let's go over Doro 44. apparently his entire channel got fucking deleted.
Oh, so these
I
are
don't
the
know what's
top
going
Hoyo
on with YouTube here,
creators.
but on a bad day, Doro gets 300,000 views
Yeah.
on his videos.
Okay.
234, 136, 628,000, 108,000, 188,000. I want to challenge anybody here. Show me a video of, in the past 3 months, of
Past 3
someone
months.
making a negative video about Hoyoverse and it breaking 500,000 views.
Past 3 months. Negative video about Hoyoverse and breaking 500,000 views. I mean, there's gotta be at least some maniac or an animal that's gonna search around for it. And if there's not gonna be any, then oh my god. Because I would assume as well, especially like for example the upcoming Snow White movie, etc. Like that there should be at least one. Like, okay. I can't wait to see if there is any.
Show me one.
Because to be fair, the video is relatively fresh. It came out 2 days ago.
Can show you.
Maybe there's something in the top comment section. If it was Nintendo, if it was Kuro, bro, I played Hoyo games. Hoyo games disappointed me. Who do you expect me to hate on? We can Google Classroom. Oh, wait. Okay.
About 100 videos being positive about Hoyo that will break 500,000. Let's go over the shorts. Shorts as well, 190, 170, 360, 260, 125, 225, 236, 713,000. Let's go ahead and do another one.
But in a sense, this basically just proves my point that I was always saying, that people don't really care about what's the truth. People only care about either A, sensation, or B, that what pleases them. And you know, talking the truth about their beloved game, even though if it's, you know, like not in their best, you know, make them how it's not there for to make them feel good. It's about the truth and actual facts, and you know, foreshadowing on what's to come. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen to it, and they don't watch it. And that's why creators like me are kind of fucked, because I'm brutally honest, brutally factual, and I'm not shitting on the game, quote unquote, or hating on the game, quote unquote, because I want drama. I despise drama. I've said that multiple times. And I'm just saying what things are. It is what it is. You know, and if it's happened to be bad and not so great, then because it is bad and not so great. I've been a day one Star Rail player, free to play player, fully free to play from day one. I've loved the game. I've enjoyed the game ever since up till like the end of Penacony till patch 2.6. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just cannot emphasize it enough, because I've seen some of these clips and reactions videos that some other creators do, and they just scrutinize every single word and sentence they say. That's why I cannot emphasize it enough that we need to take responsibility of what we are saying. With that said, let's see what else Tectone has to say.
Let's go over Brand Online, boys. 234,000, 100,000,
Giving us more examples.
372,000, 335,000, 75K, 616.
Makes a strong point, though.
Views. Just to name a few. Shall I go further? Let's pull up Tawano.
I think we get the point.
Videos. And he's leaning more into variety. Good for him. Every Genshin video, 200,000, 100,000, 153,000, 180,000, 171,000, 500,000.
Yeah, and as the way I look at it, these are all non-hating videos.
1 point.
As in, they are just like normal videos, like playing into the fact that, you know, what pleases the people and what not, what's factual. And yeah, this is why, yeah.
5
This just further
million.
strengthens my point that I said before.
No, it is not meta to be negative, to constructively criticize Genshin Impact or Hoyo games. That is not the fucking meta.
Yeah, now that he said all that, I think I kind of agree with him. Even though I said it before that it could be meta, the numbers don't lie, and if there's no counter argument or proof that there is actually at least one video that performs very well, then yeah, I think the statement that this is the meta, that is false.
It is something that you can do if you feel it. But for anybody to say that if you constructively criticize Genshin or Hoyo games, that's how you get ahead, especially on YouTube.
Nah. Nah. Like ever since I did that rant video, I've been struggling more than ever. I wasn't very well off to begin with.
Hell no. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop pretending that you know what you talk about.
Also, let me say that most of the times I do believe it genuinely that people who constructively criticize their games are either a like he said, in a way, that people who don't give a fuck anymore and just let it all out. But B, in my case, I just want the game to do better. I just don't want my game that I love, the game that I love and play, to go down the shitters and be a mess. Because believe it or not, as a gamer, I like good games. And I don't know what the issue is when I only criticize the game for it being bad in some aspects, and I wanted to improve on those in those aspects to be better. Because I do believe that, me personally, I only criticize the game in a form of tough love, as in, yeah, I criticize the game, but not because I hate it or I want to hate it. I want it to be better, and I don't want it to be in a bad situation where it currently is. That's all.
You cannot root that argument in logic whatsoever. And if you think you can, I challenge you to do so. And that's to anybody. Now, this is a very harming take. And
Oh, he even
it's
invites
a very harmful
people
take.
here.
It's very incendiary, in fact, because what that does is it undermines everything that these creators are doing, everything these creators are saying. Because what you're saying is the only reason why you're saying this is for clout and for views. Now, let me tell you why you can say you're only doing this for views, you're only doing this for money, for a positive content creator perspective. I would like you to tell me one of the top Hoyo creators who are not contracted. Tell me one Hoyoverse creator that is not contracted, that is not in the preferred server. Are you noticing how my chat went completely still?
Yeah, I think this is the checkmate question.
You know why that was? Because they were trying to think of a single reason, a single person who.
Yeah, and that's how it is. Like, all of these top creators are more than likely contracted, and since they are contracted, they have zero incentive to say anything bad about the game, and they have zero incentive to give us the whole truth. What I mean by that, I'm not saying they are lying. I'm saying they might give us some truth, but they are not giving the whole truth. Let me give you an example. Oh, look at this next character. This next character is going to be very good in XYZ. He or she is going to be irreplaceable in this A or B team comp. However, with that said, they're going to praise it, they're going to sugarcoat it, or not maybe sugarcoat it, that's the wrong word, but they're going to highlight all of the good stuff and the good parts of the new character, but they will forget to mention other stuffs. Like, for example, oh, but the next banner is going to be this character who's going to be even better than the current character that I just spoke of. Or, this character is only good if you get E2 S1 for her, and you need to invest quite a lot of money, or jades, or tickets, or pools, or whatever. Or, this character might be good now, but 2 patches later, it's going to drop down significantly and we'll have zero use for it. That never happened. For example, Blade, Jingyuan, Jingliu, that could never happen. Like, I remember back in the days when Blade was like, the same thing. Oh my god, he solo not zero cycles, but he solo MOC 10s. Because back in the day, MOC 10 was the top, there was no MOC 12. He can solo MOC 10. Oh my god, he is so broken. Oh my god, this, oh my god, that. Yeah, but everybody failed to mention the downsides of it. And that's the thing how I see it. Like, for me, if I give my thoughts on something, I give it both, not just the good, I give it both the good and the bad. And in fact, as a matter of fact, I give more of the bad than the good. Because even if someone can still pick a character, for example, in this case, but whatever it may be, a character, a light cone, whatever. If they can pick it up, even though I gave all of my bad thoughts and bad, the bads, then that speaks for itself. How the in this case, in this example, how the character is. Now, again, one of the other reasons why I'm mostly fucked, because English isn't my mother language, isn't my native language, so you can probably hear it. Sometimes I'm stuttering, try to collect my thoughts. Let's continue.
Could be a counterpoint, and they couldn't. You want to know why that is? Because there's a lot of benefits being positive for the company.
Money.
Not only does it get you more views to be more positive, not only does it get you contracted with Hoyoverse.
Views and contracts equal what? Money.
Not only does it give you access to special servers and roles and opportunities.
Special servers, roles, and it's gonna say opportunity for 100% sure. Yeah. Opportunities equal what again? Money.
More money, but it makes you
money.
Look like a good little boy the whole time too, and it avoids you a whole bunch.
Oh, I haven't even thought about that. Oh yeah, it makes you look like a good boy. Oh, what did he say again?
Roles and opportunities and more money, but it makes you look like a good little boy the whole time too, and it avoids you a whole bunch of hate.
Oh my god, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah. Like, as until you lick your boss's ass, you're a good boy. Similarly, until you lick the company's boots, you're a good boy.
It is great. Now, somebody here said Sekapoko. Okay.
What is that?
And pull up Sekapoko's channel.
Oh, who is that?
Somebody
it's a content creator.
Was a top creator for Genshin Impact. Yeah, man. Do you think 4,000 views 4 months ago equals a top creator?
I mean, I know it personally now that it's not easy to even get that.
Hoyoverse? Yeah, I don't think so, man. Yeah, I really don't think so. I want to make that very clear. Top Hoyo creator. Give me a top 10. Tawano, Anthony Chen, Dish, Ziox, Brand Online, Doro44, just to name a few. You cannot say that giving hate, doing constructive criticism gets you views. You cannot say that.
Yeah. Giving constructive criticism, zero success. I experienced it personally, and not just that, but I also built up why I think that's the case.
Makes no sense from any facet whatsoever. And in fact, you can say, and once again, before anybody's passive aggressive and says, hail Tectone, oh, he's right, prove me wrong. Before you try to deflect, before you try to dodge, prove me wrong then. Show me how I'm wrong. And here's the thing, you'll realize that you can't. Because here's the reality. I speak in logic. I speak on things that you can prove. I'm not here just playing pretend, saying things for fun.
Yeah.
And this is very important because so many different, and I want to make this very clear.
Me similar.
This is not made about Mr. Pokey. This is about everybody who's ever said that. I would like to just address it firmly. And I would encourage anybody to react to this if they haven't already. Because this...
Oh, he says it here again. I only been told to watch the last 5 to 10 seconds of the video when he says it, but he says it in mid-video as well. What a Chad. Yeah, so I think we think kind of similarly, or should I say we have the same mentality or mindset when it comes to content creation. However, there's a key difference between him and me, and not just him being much bigger than me. He is an entertainer, while I am not. In other ways to say it, he can entertain the people, he can sell himself. Me, I'm just like a documentary film, stating facts, truthful facts, as best as I can in my abilities, as objectively as possible, and that's it. In other words, compared to him, I'm boring.
This is the type of bullshit that is, number one, another huge issue, going to, chat, what do you think this enables? What issue in the Hoyoverse community do you think this is going to perpetuate?
It's either gonna be, one, people should make more hate videos about Hoyoverse games to get more views. Either it could be interpreted that this could be a misinformation, a huge misinformation. And again, this is why it is very important what big content creators say, because this could lead to a whole avalanche of things. That's one thing I could think of. The other thing I could think of is actually maybe a positive one, because if people start to massively hate on the game and the game finally starts to lose money, then maybe, just maybe, finally we can see some improvements to the game and not being just served the bare minimum. So that's the two things I can see.
Excellent job. Toxic fucking positivity.
Toxic
Right on
positivity.
time. And I'm proud of you guys for acknowledging that
Uh,
and understanding that immediately.
Toxic positivity. I have to Google search it because I don't even think I know what toxic positivity is. Toxic positivity is the belief that people should maintain a positive mindset no matter how difficult the situation is. It involves dismissing negative emotions and instigating on positive thinking, which can be harmful and suppress genuine feelings. Isn't that the opposite actually? Like when Mr. Pokey says that hating the game creates free views, isn't it the opposite? It actually encourages people to create bad videos, is he not? Because he is saying that creating bad, videos, aka constructive criticism on the game, gives them more views. Even though he debunked, the Tecton debunked it that it's not true, because there's not a single counter video to make that claim seem true. Toxic positivity is more like from the streamer's side. Like many of the streamers are toxic or being toxic positive, or whatever you want to call it, because they are creating these videos like you just mentioned before, Tecton, when you gave the example of 200, 300K, whatever amounts of views, like being toxically positive, creating fun, happy videos, knowing the fact that it's actually, the state that these games are bad, but still keeping a positive attitude, like still saying everything is sunshine and rainbow, actually what gives them the views. So in fact, if he is saying here that being toxic positive, as in being like all happy sunshines and rainbows, nothing is bad, look, and that's how you get views, then yeah, I agree. Because he just already showed it that being toxic positive, saying no negative things, being all happy is what gives the views. Being constructive and, saying something bad about the game, there's not even a video with 500,000 views.
Prove me wrong. Before you try bullshit, that is number one. Another huge issue. Going to, chat, what do you think this enables? What issue in the Hoyoverse community do you think this is going to perpetuate? Excellent job. Toxic fucking positivity. Right on time. And I'm proud of you guys for acknowledging that and understanding that immediately.
But he says it's going to be a community issue. Why is this going to be a community issue? So if the community is toxically positive, but to be fair, I don't think this will be a community issue. I think this is already a community issue. Since it's already a community issue, I don't think this is something new. Like this has been a community issue like ever since Silverwolf, in my opinion. Like back in the day when Silverwolf was coming out and people were saying, like, including me, that this might not be the best thing in the world. Like there was this quote unquote toxic positivity from the community side ever since then. And way before Hoyoverse, Honkai Starville, or gacha games even, toxic positivity in community was always present for whatever reason. Like this is nothing new. And I think that this specifically, hating on Hoyoverse equals free views, doesn't enable this to the community. If anything, let me just think of it for a second. Hating on Hoyoverse equals free views. Does this create toxic positivity in the community, in the viewers, in the players? Well, it's kind of a 50-50 because it depends on how people interpret this. Because if they interpret this that hating on Hoyoverse equals free views, then some of them might say, "Nah, this is bullshit. Hating on Hoyoverse won't create free views because there's nothing to hate about the game. Everything is good about the game." Then yeah, that might be toxic positivity. But on the other hand, if they disagree with it, hating on Hoyoverse equals free views. Yeah, I'm kind of lost in my own logic here. Okay, let's listen what he has to say and maybe we can figure this out.
When you say the only people that are criticizing the game are doing it for views and money, it is rooted in nothing. It is rooted in nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not criticizing a game because of money. Like, I don't even have anything to monetize, so...
There is no rewards. There is no perks that
Yeah.
come with being criticized and being hateful.
The only reward could be, like I mentioned before, if the game would improve based on those criticisms and that feedback, which sadly seems not to be the case so far, in my opinion and in my experience. Like, the more feedback you give, the more you feel like you're just posting the mail to a brick wall. Like, every time I myself gave very lengthy feedback via the survey, via personally, via the support or everything else. Like, yeah, some things got fixed, but because they were needed to be fixed to begin with, because they were like quest bugs, glitches, flying things, go out of the map, etc. But like financially and character-wise, polling-wise, that where their money is and our time and our enjoyment really roots in, there has been zero like feedback taken.
There's no benefit to that. As a matter
or it has been taken, but it got twisted in a way where it benefits them more.
of fact, let me go even further and express the fact that that is what will be creators' undoing. And this has been something that I have warned many creators about.
Yeah, that might be the case. I don't know about that. I don't really like. I have no experience personally.
As of late, which is who is destroying their own channel. I was talking about reactors. I think there are a lot of people who are trying to react, but what they don't get is nobody gives a fuck about their opinion. When you
Absolutely true. Like, I bet nobody's gonna give a fuck about my reaction when I post this on YouTube later.
say that, it does sound kind of harsh. It does. But when you think about it,
But it's the truth.
It makes sense. When you haven't earned the tenure to be a reactor, no one gives a fuck about what you're saying. No one goes in the random street to go ask a homeless person what their thoughts are on Genshin Impact.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing what makes me credible, in my opinion, is that everything I've said from like patch 1.5, I believe, or like early patch 2.0, like everything so far came true in the future. It's a different topic that I only started streaming way at the end of the patch 2. But yeah, everything I've said, even until then and before that, has came true. Because I've been playing an embarrassingly large amount of games, including gacha games, etc. So I kind of see how they operate and what to expect, what's to come most of the time. Now, I'm not perfect. Like, I'm a human as well. I can make mistakes, and I did make some mistakes. But I will confidently say that 90%, 90+% of the times, what I think it's gonna happen, it happens. Now, it's a different matter that whether people know this about me and how much people know about me to begin with or listen to me to begin with. Because frankly, I've been raised in a society where like all this media, all this social media is non-existent for me. Like, I've been like a nobody in social media. I have zero everything for like until like a couple of months ago. So yeah.
But somebody will go to Michael Phelps to ask him about the fucking Olympics. So before you...
So in this example, I am the homeless person. Nobody knows that the homeless person is like a seer or something that can see the winning lottery tickets, or see in the near future, because he's a homeless nobody. And nobody even gives the homeless guy a chance, especially not the girls nowadays as we know it.
Earned the right to be a reactor, someone who gives his opinion on things. You need to give people a reason to give a fuck about your opinion. Now, Tub Hut, you posted a question mark. What are you confused about? I forgot I have ADHD. That's all fine. I am here to answer anybody's questions if they have one. Now, the reason why I bring up the reactor thing is because everybody has a reason for people to go to them for something. And
Yes, I would be lying if I were to say I had zero reason to react to this video. Because, like I said before, if I were to be like other content creators, I would definitely say something along the lines that, yeah, I play horror games, I play Honkai Star Rail, I really cared about this title, it intrigued me, and I wanted to react to it. But if I want to stay myself and, like, be keep it 1,000, then yeah, obviously I'm reacting to this video because all of the reasons I've mentioned before, while at the same time I'm also reacting to this video in hopes to get some more views, to get some more likes, to get some more subscribers, etc. Because Tecton is a huge content creator and, reacting to his videos might yield to something, etc. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Like I've said it before. I'm brutally honest about this. And he knows it. He invites people into it. And I think I suspect that he maybe even is looking for these smaller content creators in this form to get some opinions about the game and the state from them. And maybe mutually in a win-win state, maybe create some more videos and get some more content in his end as well. That's what I think.
the reason why I like to talk about reason and or cause is because I want to talk to people about why they might think it is meta to be hateful towards Hoyo Game.
Okay. Briefly, what I said before, I think it could be interpreted why it is meta is because it is the sensation of the today. That's it. The meta always shifts. If the next patch, let's say the next upcoming patch, they were to announce Casterize, they were to remove the global buff, they were to give everyone 100 free pulls, give switch the 1 point every non-standard character from 1.0 to 2.0 into the standard banner, then yeah, everybody would be praising Hoyoverse, and that would be the meta, praising. But now that it's bad and now, everybody is giving constructive criticism, well, not maybe everybody, but more people than not, ever since before. And yeah, so that's why. I don't know how can I explain any better. Like I said, English isn't my mother language. I hope I explained, and I hope it's understandable.
The reason why it seems meta, it's not because it's forced, it's because right now in Hoyo games, there's nothing to be positive about.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. He summarized it in 2 sentences. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
It's fucking horrible. Now, what you might say it's meta to be truthful, and that's also not true.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true, but even though if it's not true, I will stay that way because I don't want to be those content creators that are only giving out half truths or intentionally lying to people, because that's not me.
The meta is to suck the dick of this company and say everything's fine,
Yeah.
everything's good.
Yeah.
There are creators right now who are going to quit YouTube, quit all of their Hoyoverse gacha game tenure that they have built up because the state of the games are so fucking bad.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. I've got to a point where I also thought about quitting Star Rail. And not because I would lose my way of doing content or I had a huge, anything to lose because I didn't have very much to begin with. It's just that it is what it is. Star Rail is exactly in its state that it's in.
Genshin is worse than it has ever been.
Holy, so Genshin is worse than Honkai Star Rail. I have a friend playing Genshin, and he said that everything is kind of okay on his end. He doesn't like playing Genshin as well, to be fair, compared to like a few years ago, but he didn't mention anything about being so bad.
Hoyoverse's business practices for Honkai Star Rail are more predatory than anything we've ever seen.
I don't think more predatory than everything we have ever seen.
Even non-Hoyo games.
Nah, I would disagree with that. It's predatory, I agree with that, but it's not as bad as, the worst that I've seen. I've seen way worse. Now, is it relatively bad? Yeah, it's relatively bad. It's really close to being the worst. Yeah.
It's bad.
It
And
is.
there's a massive grain of salt for anybody hoping that Zenless Zone Zero will be any different if it's made by the same company.
I can see his view, and I share the same concerns as him. However, with that said, if Genshin and Star Rail both fail massively financially on their end, then they might consider not doing the same mistake in Zenless Zone Zero. That's the only benefit of the doubt or positive thing I could see. However, with that said, I don't want to, and now I'm going to come out with the classic sentence. I don't want to be sounding like someone toxic positive. But, yeah, that's the thing I can say about ZZZ in good faith. Now, I do believe that there's a very small chance and likelihood that will happen, because I do believe, and I agree with him, that more likely than not, it's gonna follow the same pattern as Honkai Star Rail, and now that I know better, like Genshin Impact. Like, it's gonna be all sprinkles and candies and sunshine and rainbows, and then the predatory marketing practices will take effect.
Gacha Smack is quitting. I'm thinking about stopping playing Honkai Star Rail. And if the Castor's changes go through, I will not be playing Honkai Star Rail.
Yeah, like back in 2.6, I said this about Castores, I said this about Cypher, I said this about the upcoming Fate collab. Yeah. And when was Sunday in version 2.6? Like, 3 months ago? 4 months ago? Oh well, what do I know?
Do you think that's going to benefit me? No. It's going to take away a facet of my revenue. It's going to limit the amount of content that I can do.
Now, it's true what he's saying, but to be fair, like, how much of it is really gonna take away from him, like percentage wise, like 5%? I'm just making a wild guess here.
It's going to make other people go to other creators that are more positive to hear how they feel about these updates.
To be fair, if these bigger content creators are gonna quit Honkai Star Rail, that does give me, as well as a smaller content creator, to maybe rise up in the rank, or maybe be a quote-unquote replacement, without me being necessarily a copycat or anything. However, since I'm not one of those toxic positive streamers, or being just positive all the time, I'm not gonna be positive all the time. I'm gonna be realistic all the time. If that realistic thing is positive, then it's gonna be positive. If that realistic thing is gonna be negative, like we are in a state now, then it's gonna be mostly negative.
Obviously, it's not a good thing. But the thing is, I don't have it in me to...
Yeah, and I don't have it in me as well to just lie. Like, I'm gonna keep it 1,000.
go live and lie to people.
Yeah, I knew he was gonna say that.
I never will. I go live and I tell the fucking truth.
Yep.
I don't sugarcoat anything for anybody.
To be fair, I sometimes sugarcoat it, but not because I want to, or because it's in me. In fact, it kind of disgusts me. It's more because I'm not in a position like him yet. I'm not financially stable like Elon Musk yet, who can just say, I don't give a fuck about money or anybody else. Like, I'm not in a stable position yet in any way, shape, or form to be able to not sugarcoat sometimes, if that makes sense.
So to promote this mentality that
But I don't promote it.
being negative gets you success, prove it. And I challenge anybody who's
Like I said before, I don't think it's it's true in general, but it could be true in situations and in short term. Like on the long term, it will be never successful, in my opinion, and there are plenty examples for that, where they were like hate channels and they just had momentarily success and they fell off.
who's trying to make bold-faced claims like this, prove it then. Show me anything backing your claim. Show me a single thing. Because there are far too many people going live on this platform, even still to today, talking out their fucking ass, and their chat
True.
agreeing with them.
I've only seen it happening, but not personal experience. I would say it's also true.
Once again, this isn't about Mr. Pokey. It's about what his take represents. And that's the same take that I've been dealing with for 4 years, which is, oh, dude, you're only negative. You only
Yeah, believe it or not, I've got the same thing as well when I was over criticizing the game, like out from the out from the gate, and I've been like, why am I so negative about it? And I'm like, what do you want me to say? If it's shit, it's shit. If it stinks, it stinks. You want me to say it smells like roses?
criticize this game because it gets you views. No, I do that because it's fucking important. I do it because it's fucking important. Because in these games that are more predatory than anything else on the market, it's important to
Mostly anything else.
inform your audience of what these games are, on what they can do, on how.
Yeah, basically my whole channel is about that. As a free-to-play player, how can you go by and how can you experience and play the game, for the story that is not so good anymore, while still being able to maintain your status as a free-to-play player. If the game itself advertises itself as being free to play, quote unquote.
How the game state is, on should you save money on this?
Yep.
What is happening with that?
Yep.
What can this lead to?
Yep.
Because gacha games are on a limited clock.
Every game for that matter, not just gacha games. In fact, I would argue that some of the gacha games are on a longer limited clock than most other games. Like, some games are outright go bankrupt in less than a year that are like live service games. Gacha games, usually they don't, that thing doesn't happen to those games. Usually. And I would argue that some of the gacha games, even when they quote unquote end their terms of service, like for example, there's a title number 2 or a title number 3 coming out, the previous title number 1 and title number 2 might still be going relatively well, stagnatingly, but they still could make money and revenue off of it. So I would argue a little bit about that point. However, this is just my opinion. This is not something I know factually because I obviously don't have my spreadsheet and I didn't search up the numbers. But based on how many gacha games, how many other games, how many games that tried to be successful failed in the last couple of years, like there have been some massive flops, outright flops, spending like AAA titles, spending I don't know how many tens or 100 millions of dollars and failed miserably. Yeah, I don't think this is fully true what he said now.
And Hoyoverse games are going in a downward trajectory.
Now that is true. I agree with that. Except like I think he's not correct about saying Hoyoverse games because I think ZZZ is still doing good. But if we exclude ZZZ, then yeah, I agree.
For how much they care about consumer feedback.
Yeah, zero. That I know personally, zero.
And if you think anything that
Or not, that's not true. Almost zero, because like I said before, they care about feedback when it can benefit them. So if they see feedback that it's constructive and quote unquote negative as well, but they can see it, they see an opportunity in it to quote unquote improve and fix the issue by doing something else but slightly similar, but that would make them generate more money, then yeah, they will care about it.
That I just said was a lie, please make a react video to it. Please challenge what I'm saying. I would
Yeah.
love to have a discussion.
Me
Join
too.
me on a podcast. But I think
I would love to, however, I think I am not ready for that yet.
people are getting far too comfortable just talking purely out of their fucking ass. And I think that's because their audience and their community doesn't challenge them enough on
I don't have an audience or a community big so far to be challenged. And so far, I haven't really been challenged outside a few times, but
what it is that they're actually saying.
yeah.
And I encourage people to, when they hear claims like this, you just say one word: proof. Just ask for it. It's the same thing when you hear anybody making any allegations on anyone on the internet, because that will really de-incentivize anybody from causing issues for no reason because they're bored. Now, I would like to open this up to my chat. Anybody think that I'm wrong? Anybody want to point out any error in my logic? Because I know other chats, if they watch this video, there will be some people going like, he's so dumb. But there won't.
I mostly agree what he said. I had a few minor things that I kind of disagree a little bit, or not fully agree to be more precise. But other than that, I think it's solid and it's fair.
Won't be anybody saying he's wrong because of this. Nopers? Cool. Yeah, I have a question.
He's not technically wrong. He I think it could be just a matter of perspective in some very niche cases.
What's up?
And vice versa. Sometimes I could not see maybe his point of view.
Man, why do you have like 6 cup of liquids on your table?
Yeah, for example, I didn't even saw this.
I just can't be fucked to pick him up. Did anybody here
6 cups
think
of
that
liquid.
I'm not being fair? Did anybody here think that I misconstrued the truth? Does anybody here think
No.
I strawmanned anything?
I
that
think
Mr.
it was
Pope
very
said,
fair.
Other content creators said. Does anybody think I missed at all? Not a wrong for sure, but there is a prominent surge in negative videos with a large amount of smaller creators. That could be perceived as a meta switch. Your algorithm is what you build it to be. If you're seeing a lot of negativity, it's because you've went and sought for it. The emphasis is smaller creators.
Two things. How can people actively search for something negative or something positive? Like, I don't know if that's the thing for YouTube specifically, because and this whole topic was about YouTube specifically. But if that's the case, let me know.
Smaller creators' videos won't be pushed into your algorithm unless you were the one seeking it out. So,
actually, I've heard of a report. I'm not too sure if I can find proof for that, but there is on the internet somewhere that YouTube algorithm was changing a little bit by bit, and now it's actively starting to promote smaller creators more than it has been before. This is not to say that he is wrong, but I just wanted to point it out that this information that he has and what he's giving as an answer might be outdated.
So if that is what is on your YouTube, that's your own fault. But there's a reason why you said smaller creators having that and not larger creators. Because
Good point.
There are no larger creators doing that.
Good
Mojo
point.
OG, pull them up. Okay, what's good, man? What's good? I made a point before about needing to look at new CCs coming into the space and the content they're making for attraction, since it's mostly negative, but the biggest new CC who's actually positive one from your circle is Mr. Pokey. True. And you know what's crazy? Out of all the newer CCs that I've helped grown, the one who's the most positive is the biggest. Do you think that's the coincidence? No, it's not.
Yeah. Interesting,
So anyways,
is it not?
I'll leave it at that.
How much more evidence you need that licking the company's boots is the way to go? Not being truthful, not being factual, not being constructive, not giving constructive criticism, but just like, I don't understand. still about this toxic positivity thing, but because if anything else, this just proves that the whole thing that being as a creator, being overly toxically positive is the way to go actually. Because as long as you play toxic positively and you just keep licking the boots of the company and the game and whatnot, you're gonna get views. Everything that has been shown and said so far only proves that. So yeah, it's actually the opposite of hating on Hoyoverse equals free views. It's actually the polar opposite. Being toxic positive and licking the boots is what's gonna give you free views. However, I don't want to be a bootlicker and I don't want to be toxic positive. I want to be factual and real. If that happens to be positive, then so be it.
Stop with this dumbass bullshit. If you're gonna say some shit, at least prove it. That's my video. I encourage anybody to react to this. See y'all later. Peace.
Yeah. So this was my reaction to it.